Welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Joens, your host, and we have some exciting guests today that do wonderful things in our community for the elderly, and it's the Verde Valley Caregivers Coalition. And we have the Executive Director, Kent Ellsworth, with us today, as well as our Operations and Mobility Manager, Natalia Molina. And so we are going to talk today about Verde Valley Caregivers and how people can access the services and how people can contribute, because you are mainly a volunteer organization. So let's learn a little bit about the two of you and a little bit about your backgrounds. Kent?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor Joens. It's our pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Yes, I could, first of all, talk a little bit about Verde Valley Caregivers, and then, I come back to Arizona. I went to Scottsdale High School and graduated from Arizona State University way back in 1970. And my folks, however, lived in Sedona. They moved to Sedona in 1978,
Okay.
and my father was the founding pastor of the Sedona United Methodist Church.
All right.
So during that period of time, from 78 to when they had to move down to Phoenix for healthcare reasons, in 1995, I had a chance to get to know lots of folks that I still know. Even some of our current volunteers I met way back then.
Way back in the 70s.
That's right.
That's
it was great.
A great story.
And so it feels like coming home. It truly does.
So how long have you lived back up here in the Verde Valley, Sedona area?
Since 2010.
Okay, so you have...
Came back to Arizona in 2010 after
right.
being gone since 1970.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Yes.
And does it feel good to be home?
It does. I sure love Sedona and the hikes and the beauty and
Absolutely.
And all the wonderful people throughout the Verde Valley. And Verde Valley Caregivers was what really attracted me to come back.
Okay.
And so the opportunity and the great privilege of serving as the executive director is something I just couldn't pass up.
Well, that's wonderful.
And, Verde Valley Caregivers is really a unique organization. I've never seen a nonprofit anywhere, and I have 40 years of experience in nonprofit organizations. I've never seen a nonprofit anywhere around the country that is this effective.
Well, I think that that you've really taken it to the next level. I mean, it's always been a great organization, but I can see the expansion of the services in the community since you've arrived. So I want to say thank you personally to you for,
You're most welcome.
for that.
That's very
And so
gracious.
Natalia, tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, again, thank you very much for having us here. It's a wonderful privilege to talk about Verde Valley Caregivers. Really briefly, a little bit about my background. I have 20 years of experience in nonprofit management and administration, and I just want to say it's a real privilege and honor to serve at Verde Valley Caregivers. As Kent stated, it is a premier nonprofit organization in the way it is run, in the vision it has for the community, but also, as you shared, Kent has tremendous leadership skills, and it is a real honor to serve with him and serve our seniors in need. One of the things that got me really excited about working at Verde Valley Caregivers is the community tapestry of caring, which Kent is really eloquent and elegant about sharing the vision of. Kent, why don't you tell us about the community tapestry of caring? I love it when you share about it.
Thank you, Natalia. Yes. So, as we got in the middle of all that is going on and took a look at where we needed to be in the next few years, and I think even taking a look at the demographics, I think we're all very much aware that the greater Verde Valley has a much higher percentage of older adults living here than in general throughout the state.
Yavapai County's got a high number of baby
That's right.
boomers and elderly. So yeah,
That's
the
right.
census proves that.
That's right. And in fact, some of the most recent figures I've seen is that approximately 60% of the population living in the greater Sedona area is 55 and older. And close to 50% of the population of the greater Verde Valley is 55 years of age and older. So I have to say that we know that we will never run out of people to serve. That's
Exactly.
right.
And I love the saying that says, aging, if it's not your problem, it will be.
That's right.
You know, it's something that I'm even going through personally myself right now with being a power of attorney for an 87-year-old. And so I'm getting to understand all of the challenges an elderly person meets and trying to meet their needs, especially when they have no family or,
That's right.
you know, there's many folks that outlive their families or their friends or so. So your organization has grown. You have gone from a couple of employees and you've expanded your programs and your personnel, and we can talk about that, but mainly you operate on volunteers.
That's correct. And hence, not only the need to grow, was we do not want to say no to people who are eligible for our services. We need to strengthen Verde Valley Caregivers so that we're here for everyone who truly needs us, now and into the future. So how do we do that? You know, it takes the entire community. It takes a constellation of communities throughout the greater Verde Valley. It takes volunteers everywhere. Anybody that even has a half an hour a week or even less, an hour a month, can make a huge difference for people. So what do we call that? And so we came up with the name, the Community Tapestry of Caring, because there's room for everyone to be woven into that tapestry of caring throughout the greater Verde Valley.
I like that.
And it makes such a huge difference. We have churches that are members. We have businesses. We have many, many, many individuals. In a given year, we'll have over 250 volunteers who make a difference. And, you know, I can testify that the difference that they make is something that is so absolutely incredible. Our volunteers actually make the difference in whether or not a person can stay in their own home of choice and in their own community of choice.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, where would they go? I mean, what would they do? So for many of the people we serve, the only other option is a group home outside the area, somewhere down in the Phoenix Valley. And that's not good because then you lose so much. You lose your furniture, you can take a couple of suitcases and a few pictures, and then you have lost your own self-determination.
Exactly.
And when we can help make that difference for a person to stay in as independent as possible,
in their own
then
home.
That is what they need. That's what we all need.
That's what they love and they want. Many of them just really want to stay in their own homes and be providing services that help that. I mean, it even is less expensive to keep a person in their own home.
That's true.
Great.
Absolutely true. And, you know, the difference that makes in a person's, you know, experience at this stage in life is just absolutely incredible. And I want to thank you, too, for your service to others.
Well, thank you very much.
And what you're doing.
That's what I do.
That's exactly right. But that's the whole point. It's the whole community.
Exactly.
And we need to get businesses signed up. We know many businesses have employees who work part-time, perhaps even after clocking out on their shift, they can go as our volunteer over to someone's home and help install a new light bulb. Because, you know, heaven forbid, we don't want someone who's 90 years old getting up on a ladder to change that light bulb, because that's a high-risk activity.
Exactly.
And,
so you help in all kinds of ways.
That's right.
I know that you help with transportation and those sorts of things. You have volunteers that take elderly people to their doctor's appointments, take them shopping, or actually do the shopping for them. Do you want to talk a little bit about that service?
Yes, we could get into that. Now, transportation is how we got started in 1993. You know, a group of wonderful leaders throughout the Verde Valley region got together and could see that since there is no coordinated, specialized, or paratransit system operating throughout the greater Verde Valley and connecting to Flagstaff and Prescott and all of that, what we did is put together a volunteer transportation system. And at first, when we got started in providing these services in 1993, we served 80 individuals with 50 volunteers. Now today, guess what? nearly 2,000 individuals receive our help in a given year with 250 volunteers. And the primary service is transportation. About 70% of all the 20,000 services or so that we'll be providing is transportation. So about 70 to 80% will be transportation. And that's just the volunteer program isn't enough anymore. So we have volunteers totally driving about 150,000 miles in a given year.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
150,000 miles.
That's right. And we have some volunteers driving over 1,000 miles a month. And bless their heart, they make such a huge difference. And we also have just recently gotten a grant from ADOT, the Arizona Department of Transportation, to provide volunteer coordination, stronger coordination, and improve our volunteer driver pool, and also contract through a mobility voucher program with professional transportation providers so we can provide transportation to individuals who use wheelchairs.
Oh, that's very important too.
So that's very, very, very important.
Absolutely. So how's that program going? It just got off the ground, what, a couple of months ago?
Yes, a few months back. It's going absolutely great. I mean, it's we're right now in this year that has just ended, in December of 2013, are providing 2 times the number of transportation services that we provided in 2012. So it's doubled. It's
doubled, and I mean, you just have you have a huge need for more volunteers, as I understand it.
That's exactly right.
And so, how can someone volunteer if they are just learning today about this program? And this Inside Cottonwood is broadcast throughout the Verde Valley, so there may be people all over the Verde Valley that don't really know about this that might be willing to help out. And how would they, Natalia, how would they contact you to volunteer?
Well, in tying in with the community tapestry of caring, we are hosting 2 events, general volunteer orientation events. They're called I Care events because that's really at the heart of what we do, standing forth and saying, I care about my community, I care about my seniors. January 29th, we will be at the Cottonwood Library from 2 to 4, and on January 30th, we will be at the Sedona Public Library from 1:30 to 4. And I'm encouraging people to contact me at Natalia Molina at vvcaregivers.org, or our telephone number, which will be seen on this broadcast, so that we can make sure that we have enough seating available, because we anticipate a large turnout.
Fantastic.
Is it possible for me to express what volunteer opportunities are available?
Absolutely. You know, we need to take a short break, and let's start off after our break with exactly that.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back in just a moment.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Joens, your host. We have with us Kent Ellsworth and Natalia Molina today from Verde Valley Caregivers. And Natalia, we were just talking before the break about a training session that you're going to have, and just to make sure everybody knows and can remember those dates and times, will you please repeat those?
Yes, we have 2 orientation sessions. The first one will be January 29th at the Cottonwood Library from 2 to 4 p.m. The second one will be January 30th at the Sedona Public Library from 1:30 to 4 p.m. And we're encouraging everyone to call the Verde Valley Caregivers Office 204-1238 to confirm seating.
Okay, that's fantastic. So if you can volunteer with the Verde Valley Caregivers, please attend one of those training sessions and learn about how you can help in your community. Let's talk about volunteer opportunities and service.
We have so many exciting volunteer opportunities, and I want to reiterate what Kent said, which is you can volunteer for half an hour a week, an hour a month. It is as you like. The volunteer opportunities that we have available include working at our One Call Center. Our One Call Center receives several calls for questions of services, referrals, assistance. Some of our neighbors that want to arrange for transportation, we need folks to staff the One Call Center. So that's one opportunity, and that is centrally located in Uptown Sedona. I wanted to be very clear about that because in case people are interested, the office is located in Uptown Sedona.
Okay.
The next need, which is one of our greatest needs, is transportation. And you can elect to serve your community. In other words, when I've done recruitment, I've had people that say, I want to help Beaver Creek, Lake Montezuma, Rimrock residents. You can select that and say, I just want to help those neighbors, but we definitely have need for transportation throughout the Verde Valley. We also have a need for guardian angel pendant technicians, and we have one here.
Okay,
to
why
show
don't you hold that up? We have explain what this is.
These are very similar to the Life Alert pendants, and what's very exciting about this is, unlike the Life Alert pendants, people who qualify through our eligibility process can get this for free. We do not discriminate on the basis of income at all. It is based upon need.
Okay.
So if you are living alone, and your medical provider has deemed you at high risk for falling, you may be eligible for one of these devices. And these devices are water resistant. So a person can be showering, and heaven forbid, they fall, they hit the button, and it will call up to 4 people that the neighbor wants to be a respondent on that.
Okay, so they can wear this in the shower because, yeah, that's where accidents can happen.
Exactly.
That's right.
And so if you had to take this off, then, you know, you would be at risk. So
I might add, too, that this unit, our newer unit, actually can call 911 as well as the 5th call in the line of calls that it is set up to make, or it can call 911 as the only call that is made from the unit when the button is pushed.
Okay. All right. So this is something that people can get. People who need these can get them, but you also need volunteer technicians.
Yes, to install them,
to install them
to
and
upkeep them,
maintain them.
and maintain them.
Okay.
We also have new neighbor interview, the need for that, volunteers. These folks go into the homes of people who say, I'd like to be a neighbor with Verde Valley Caregivers. And they do an in-depth interview of the person in their home and check for things such as, is there a hazard for slipping? Are there a lot of electrical wires that might be out of place? How do things appear in the home? All of these factors in that new neighbor interview really help in us providing and engaging the neighbor with the best services possible.
So anyone who wants your services would call your office and get that interview.
It has to
That's
be
right.
at their home.
At their home. So you can assess falling hazards and
all sorts of other hazards that might go unnoticed. Exactly. We also have business help. In other words, we have a number of neighbors whose mail has really piled up high. We may have a volunteer that goes in and helps the neighbor sort through their mail, get rid of the junk mail, and get them more aware of what they should be paying.
Right. There should be, I mean, because they'd be receiving bills and statements and all sorts of things that might be piling up. And so that's great that you can help them with those issues.
And as Kent stated, we also do light handy person help, changing light bulbs. Maybe someone needs help getting a stove turned on if something is amiss. Very light handy person help. And then another service which is really, really exciting, to which Kent alluded to, is our Care Transitions program. And it's a really exciting partnership and relationship that we have with Verde Valley Medical Center. The Care Transitions team, which are led by a team of 3 nurses, are engaged through Verde Valley Medical Center and their social work department. They will call our office and say, as an example, Mrs. Smith is being discharged on Tuesday after her hip replacement surgery. Can you come and meet with her? The nurses will go and meet with Mrs. Smith at bedside and see what type of services she might need. For example, usually there's medications that need to be taken, perhaps exercises. They will introduce themselves and say, Mrs. Smith, we're from Verde Valley Caregivers Coalition. Will you need help during your time of healing? Many times Mrs. Smith will say yes, and we will meet with Mrs. Smith and follow up with her for 30 days after she has been discharged. And we have realized, in conjunction with Verde Valley Medical Center, that the readmission rate of these patients is extremely low due to that, I'm going to go back to that, care and attention that we give to those neighbors in their homes.
That's a great partnership, and I've heard about it through the Verde Valley Medical Center, and the fact that with the new Healthcare Act that readmissions are, there's a whole new ball game, so to speak, about readmissions, and so the hospitals worked very hard in a partnership with Verde Valley Caregivers to make sure that people are assisted afterwards, and this cuts down the number of readmissions greatly. I mean, it's amazing what that partnership is doing in the community, the positive results that it's making.
It is. It's quite remarkable to see, and I kind of expected to see, you know, definitely an improvement. A great reduction in the readmission rate for these individuals that we are directly serving on referral from the hospital. But actually, you know, it improved far better than I could have imagined. I was expecting at least a 40% improvement, but it's improved by 70%.
That's amazing.
We've reduced readmissions by over 70%, actually.
So, and the real person that benefits is the person being released from the hospital that doesn't have to go back again because they were able to get their meals, get their medications, and get back to the doctor and all of those things that they couldn't do before if they were alone.
That's exactly right. And, you know, that's a very critical time in anybody's life, the time when we are discharged from the hospital to go home, knowing that there's still some time of healing and that is yet to come. And how do we process through that? How do we make sure we get our groceries? Do we really understand those medications and why they've been prescribed? All of those kinds of things, when we provide that direct service, it makes a huge difference. I mean, having that understanding and that attentive care and the community caring too, because volunteers have an opportunity to participate in the transitional care services as well, to make a huge difference.
Great. And so we need to take another quick break, and so we'll be right back.
place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We know what you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Mayor Diane Joens, your host, here with Verde Valley Caregivers. So let's talk a little bit now about how you're funded, because providing all of these services, even though it's mainly volunteer-driven, still takes some funding. So
It does.
how does that work?
Well, first of all, we have a constellation of different funding streams coming into Verde Valley Caregivers. But one of the most important sources of our existence and to help make sure we are here in the future are individual donors. That's so important for us. Individual donors make a giant difference. People can go to our website and actually make a contribution through our website or call our office. We'd be delighted to help. Individual donors, bequests, all of that has made such a huge difference. And over the last couple of years, we've expanded our other funding streams as well, primarily through grants and contracts. So we now have a grant arrangement through NACOG and through ADOT, and with, thankfully, the Verde Valley Medical Center also is a major contributor.
Another partner.
So those kinds of funding streams just make all the difference in the world. But I think it's so important to stress the fact that it's the individual donors out there and the bequest that has kept us going all these 20 plus years.
Absolutely, and no amount's too small, like the large amounts, of course.
That's
but
right.
It's a lot of different individuals giving small amounts if they can that makes the big difference.
And that's a big part of the community tapestry of caring. If you don't have time to volunteer or can't do that, make a contribution. You'll still be a part of it. And I think that's such an important thing. Many of the people we help, our neighbors, they contribute as well voluntarily. So it's everybody is a part of it. That's what I want to stress. Everybody needs to be a part of it.
So the people can donate at vvcaregivers.org.
Yes.
There's a donate button there, or they can call the number that's been up on the screen. And just talk to you if they want to about how they could do that. So, we've got just a couple minutes here. So what do we want to talk about to wrap it up, that maybe to re-stress an idea or something new that we haven't discussed yet, but we've got a couple minutes.
I think actually how to get engaged with the community tapestry of caring, and Natalia can tell us more about that, what's coming.
Really, as Kent has said, as we all say at the office, let's get involved, show that you care. Nothing is too small or too large. We're having those two events, January 29th at the Cottonwood Library, January 30th at the Sedona Public Library. Find out more about us, and I think people will discover it's a tremendous gift that they give, but also receive in turn.
And if they're watching the show after those two dates, they can still call your office and learn how they can engage in that manner also. So what's your favorite part of the job?
You know, my favorite part of the job is knowing, without a doubt, that we make a difference every day of the week, for many hundreds of people. Together with our volunteers, with other community leaders who are a part of this, our funders, our donors, we're all making a difference, a huge difference for people.
Absolutely. Well, our time is up, and I just want to thank both of you. You've brought some great information to the community. So we're signing off for today. I'm Mayor Diane Joens, and that's how it is in Cottonwood.